To a viewer tuning into Indian television, the primetime news broadcast is a sensory assault of breaking alerts and flashing banners. This chaotic user interface serves a specific purpose: to keep the audience in a state of constant, unthinking engagement. Maintaining this intensity requires a steady supply of fictions. Major networks have broadcasted entirely manufactured stories to millions, such as the claim that world leaders like Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump traveled to India to take holy dips in the river Ganges. While the airwaves stay loud with these fantasies, the actual crises ravaging the country are met with total silence. Cataclysmic failures in healthcare and surging mass unemployment rarely penetrate the primetime lineup. This massive disconnect reveals a system that is executing its job flawlessly. The objective is to use the news as a platform for political marketing. Journalist Ravish Kumar coined the term "Gaudy media" to describe this ecosystem. It translates to lapdog media, a press corps that has abandoned its independence to sit in the lap of the ruling power. The 2016 demonetization crisis provided a visceral example of this subservience. The state disrupted the national economy overnight by invalidating its currency, forcing citizens into endless bank queues to exchange their savings. Rather than questioning the policy's logic, major news anchors acted as state mouthpieces. They dedicated their broadcasts to explaining that the new $2,000 notes contained a nano GPS chip that allowed the government to track black money even if it was buried deep underground. The national press willingly broadcasted easily disprovable PR as revolutionary science. In doing so, it permanently surrendered its role as a democratic watchdog. The current state of the press is a logical outcome of India's media ownership structure. A small handful of billionaires control the largest networks, managing newsrooms while simultaneously running vast business empires dependent on the government for essential regulatory approvals. This concentration leads to the elimination of dissenting voices. In 2022, NDTV, one of the last independent mainstream broadcasters, fell to a hostile takeover by the Adani Group, a conglomerate closely allied with the Prime Minister. Survival for these networks depends on a financial chokehold. The central government utilizes its massive advertising budget to reward compliant networks, while severing funds to any outlet that publishes critical reporting. The state also leverages its regulatory machinery for direct pressure. Independent outlets face severe tax raids, and their journalists are frequently targeted with anti-terror charges and national security provisions. Critical journalism becomes a functional impossibility when a newsroom's financial existence relies entirely on its strict obedience to the state. Without actual news, Gaudy media relies on a repeatable playbook. The first tactic is the creation of a political personality cult, framing the Prime Minister as a quasi-divine, infallible leader with a 56-inch chest. The second tactic is the use of communal scapegoating. Networks relentlessly frame domestic dissenters and activists as anti-national threats to state security to justify a continuous crackdown. The third tactic is strategic diversion. While the media provides wall-to-wall coverage of celebrity scandals, they maintain a deliberate blackout on massive, historic agrarian distress and nationwide labor strikes. This constant cycle of manufactured outrage exhausts the public's emotional bandwidth. It ensures that the electorate remains too distracted to demand real accountability for systemic failures in their governance. Empirical proof of this collapse is found in international data. Each year, Reporters Without Borders compiles the World Press Freedom Index to evaluate the state of journalism globally. India's rank plummeted from 80 in 2002 to 157 out of 180, entering the red very serious zone. Its press environment is now less free than active war zones, sitting physically below Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Palestine. The official diagnosis cites a surge in violence against journalists, overt political alignment by major networks, and extreme concentration of ownership. The concept of a free press has been functionally eradicated from the mainstream Indian ecosystem. This capture has forced independent journalists and YouTubers to build an alternative infrastructure, an underground railroad of information bypassing the government's propaganda machine. But the primary victim of the captured mainstream networks is the everyday citizen. Democracy relies on a public that can access facts to hold power accountable. By replacing that process with blind devotion, Gaudy media breaks the psychological mechanics required for a functional democracy. The media's ultimate victory is successfully training citizens to fight each other over manufactured controversies, rather than questioning the people who hold power. Propaganda achieves its ultimate form in what it chooses to ignore. While the screens stay loud with manufactured noise, the most critical truths about the country are simply allowed to vanish into the silence.